Hello, everybody. This is sPidA, and you're listening to the Fight Card Podcast. We are coming to you live from San Antonio, Texas. With me today, my guest today is actually a former UFC fighter. The gentleman's a veteran of the sport here in Texas, and I say that with all due respect. I present to you Pete Spratt. Pete, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Excited to be a part, man.
No, thank you, man. I do appreciate your time. I know, like I was saying earlier, man, time right now, it's nobody has any, man. So whatever time you can give me, I appreciate you.
Sure thing.
Now, this podcast, basically what I wanted to do was bring you in. This is going to be an introduction. I'm going to interview you, ask you a couple of questions, try to, the hardcore fans know who you are. Like everybody coming out now, a lot of the guys, they see McGregor and they see, all the new guys that have been popping up. So with that being said, man, where initially are you from?
I am originally from Sherman, Texas. It's a city 60 miles north of Dallas, right at the Oklahoma-Texas border.
Oh, wow. Okay, you see, I didn't even know that, man. Okay, now, that is where you grew up and you started playing football, correct?
Yeah.
Now, how far did you take your football career?
I mean, I got a full scholarship in football. Initially, out of high school, I signed with Northwestern State University out of Natchitoches, Louisiana. And when I got there, I hated it. So I like all the dialect with that Cajun dialect. Everybody kind of spoke in past tense. And so, like, if you ask somebody a question and they didn't hear you, they'd be like, "What you said?" I'm like, that's not right. That's not right at all. But yeah, man, I just hated it at Northwestern. Initially, my coach, my recruiting coach at the time, his name was Fitzgerald Hill. It's Dr. Hill now. But Fitzgerald Hill is actually the guy that recruited me to go to Northwestern. He had just took a job with Northwestern from the University of Arkansas. And even coming up, I wanted to play with the University of Arkansas, and but that kind of didn't happen. But anyway, long story short, he got hired back full time at the University of Arkansas.
Okay.
And so at that particular time, when he went back to the University of Arkansas offered me a full scholarship.
Oh, nice.
But Northwestern, I was Northwestern's number one recruit, and so they wouldn't release me to go to another college. So back then, if they didn't release you, that would have made me have to sit out 2 years before I was eligible to play.
Oh, wow, man.
If I went to the University of Arkansas. So anyway, I went, I withdrew the first semester. I hated it. I mean, I tried it. I hated it. I withdrew. Then the spring semester, I went back to try it again. I enrolled. And then at that time, I just quit and didn't withdraw nothing. So January 92, I'm trying to go back to school, January 92, so I contact Southeastern Oklahoma State University, and that's Durant, Oklahoma. That's like maybe 25 minutes from my hometown. And when I was trying to enroll there, I found out I had all F's on my transcript.
Oh, man.
So
yeah, that wasn't good.
So we had to do a lot of stuff there. We had to talk to the university to see if they would to drop those all F's because I didn't attend class, so it wasn't like I failed all the classes.
Right.
I just quit and didn't withdraw. So anyway, that got worked out, and I ended up playing football the rest of my career at Southeastern Oklahoma State.
Man, now being in that position, I mean, you were obviously an athlete. Mm-hmm. Was that right before you got into as far as training for kickboxing or anything, or were you already training?
I mean, once I enrolled at Southeastern, I was training kickboxing and boxing and stuff during the off seasons to stay in shape for football. So I was kind of doing that the whole time I was playing. I actually fought in the Dallas Golden Gloves my junior year in college while I was still playing football. So that was just something that, I kind of implemented into my training program to stay in shape.
Man, that's actually pretty cool, man. I mean, the reason I brought that up was basically, I believe it was Dan Henderson or one of the wrestlers in the UFC that had said that basically, I mean, out of wrestling, there's nothing else, I mean, for them to compete in other than MMA. Yeah. I mean, for you at that time, was that something when leaving football? Was you needed something to let your aggression and your...
Man, I mean, the first UFC was in 92?
Yeah.
So I was a freshman at Southeastern Oklahoma. And I remember we were all watching the UFC. And I remember telling one of my homeboys, I was like, man, I would never do no shit like that. Never. Ended up making a career out of doing that stuff that I said I would never do. So yeah, it was crazy. Like that was the furthest thing from my mind as far as when I was playing football in college was to get into combat sports or doing anything like that, man. I mean, I boxed as a little kid. Probably had my first boxing match at probably 8, 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
But I had no interest really in pursuing a career in boxing or kickboxing or anything like that. It just kind of fell into my lap. Then when the NFL thing didn't pan out, it was like, shoot, well, what can I do to be a professional athlete? And I was already boxing in the off season. I was already doing kickboxing in the off season, so it was just a natural transition for me to go into the combative sports world.
Man, I mean, that's actually interesting, man. I mean, I didn't even know that myself, man. I mean, that's thank you for sharing that. Now, when you first started training and you were doing kickboxing, I mean, who were you training under?
I trained under a gentleman by the name of John West. Actually, kind of what got me back into like the martial arts thing, because when I was a kid I did taekwondo and all that stuff.
Right.
I tried all that stuff out, but actually what really got me back into the martial arts was the movie The Perfect Weapon.
Oh, really?
With Jeff Speakman.
Oh, man. Okay.
So I saw this movie. I was like, man, I wouldn't mind learning what this guy's doing on the screen. And one day I was leaving home, and there was a small Kempo school that was right up the street from my house. So I walked in, checked it out. Phil Berthoff was my first instructor in American Kempo. And I went and checked it out. I think I ended up becoming a brown belt in like less than a year. Like it was crazy. I was so into it and so immersed into the art that I was just running through the requirements so fast. And then his trainer was actually John West. So he told me about it. He's like, look, you've gotten everything you can get from me. You need to go see the guy that taught me. So I started training with John West over in Denison, Texas. Oh, wow. And then kind of from there, just everything kind of took off. He had this big fetish for boxing, and so he started doing a lot of boxing training. He was meeting a lot of boxers that was out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Back then, it was Gene Hatcher. He was a champion. I was able to go train with him and train in his gym. David Gorman was a big-time boxing promoter and trainer out in Fort Worth, Dallas-Fort Worth, so I got to go and train with those guys.
Wow.
Sergio Reyes, Paulie Ayala. I mean, I trained with all of those guys back in the day.
That's crazy. That's good.
So, yeah, man, it was just, he kind of introduced me to all of that good stuff. Like, again, I boxed out of the boys club as a little kid, but when I was older, I really got serious about it when I met Mr. West.
Man, I mean, that's interesting, man. I mean, that's actually more stuff than I would have expected. I mean, the fact that you actually got to train with a lot of top prospects at that time. Looking back at it now, I mean, do you miss football? Do you miss playing?
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, I miss it, man. I mean, I look at the game today, especially the way the game today has changed, man. You could have a lot of longevity. I mean, look at Brady. I mean, he's at the quarterback position, but, man, I definitely miss it, man. I reminisce often, especially like just recently I posted a live feed from my man cave of 1989 high school game against our rival.
Right.
Because it was Battle of the Axe Week. This is the longest running rival in Texas football history.
Nice.
And so I was like, all right, so to all my Shermanites, I'm going to post the 1989 Sherman versus Denison football game.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of people in my inbox like, hey, man, thanks for posting that. That was a great time for us. And it was a really great time for us. We were the first and only team to go 10-0 in our school history.
No way,
so
man.
it was really a special time for us back then. So anytime, I can get back and look at that stuff, man, and remind myself of, what I used to do. Yeah, man, I miss those days a lot. Man,
I mean, in just your sporting game, I mean, you definitely accomplished a lot. When you transitioned over to the fight game, I mean, we're here in your man cave, man, and I see all these, your fight wear, fight posters that you were in magazines. I mean, what I guess looking back at that now, I mean, would you have imagined that you would have done all this?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, growing up, I wanted to play football in the NFL. Like that was my dream. So, and when that didn't happen, I was like, okay, now what's my next dream? And so the more I got into combative sports, I thought about boxing professionally for a minute, but I was like, nah, man, just with the training and with the sparring aspect of it, for me, it was a no-go. because I would spar. We would spar 3 days a week, heavy, and for at least a day, my head would hurt after sparring.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't want to box. I've seen it because I've been around it so much that I've seen the effects on a lot of people. You know, because I trained with a lot of people that you wouldn't imagine that I trained with coming up that were big time back in the day. Nobody has any idea of my boxing knowledge and my association with people that I trained with coming out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I was just like, I don't think I want that for me, especially with all this new CTE stuff coming up.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Just with my head, because when I moved here, I was boxing a lot with James Leha. And I was helping one of his fighters. Me and him were training partners, so whenever he had a boxing match, I would come in, spar, help him get ready for his boxing match. And every time we spar, man, my head would hurt for 2 days. And I was just like, and then the next day, and then when it would stop hurting, it was the day that we had to spar again.
Man, so you're thinking of going back in there.
Yeah, so, but yeah, man, I mean, I never imagined that I would become worldly famous doing, this stuff.
No, yeah, this whole mixed martial arts thing, man.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. When you first started competing as far as mixed martial arts, was it here in Texas?
Yeah. It was here in Texas. My first fight was for Shannon Rich.
Oh, really?
Shannon Rich was promoting a fight in Killeen, Texas. It was at the Wild Rose. I think it was a Wild Rose nightclub. I think is what it was. Bouncers had on like blue jeans and tuxedo shirts, like it was crazy, and cowboy hats. But yeah, a couple of my friends, Gabe and Gilbert Duran, the twins, and my friend Larry Roberts, they were all training before doing the MMA stuff. And Gilbert and Gabe, they had already fought several times, and so they was like, you should think about doing this, because once I started training with them, I started beating them and tapping them within a couple of months. So they was like, you need to try it. I was like, all right, I'll try anything once. And then after that, man, they talked me into doing this thing for Shannon, got there. And actually, man, it was going to be like a 4-man tournament, but he wanted us to pay money to do the tournament fight. I'm like, I ain't paying no money to fight, man, so you can forget that. So anyway, he ended up paying me. I knocked out a guy named Keith Sutton. This is back when there was no closed fist to the face.
I wanted to bring that up.
Pancreas, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it was no closed fist to the face, but I knocked Keith Sutton out with a left hook, open palm, left hook. And I got $50 for that fight.
Wow.
And also Fujita from Pride.
Yeah.
He fought on the card under an alias, Sato.
Oh, wow, dude, that's cool.
And then Don Fry was there too, cornering him. So
man.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. Because I remember looking at him, I'm like, that dude looks so familiar. And then sure enough, about a month or two later, I'm watching Pride and I see him right there on Pride.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, man, yeah.
You see, and Shannon Rich is still going at it, man. Yeah, he's still fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of those guys, man, I mean, I guess he won't stop till he's ready.
Yeah, man, I just saw where he's trying to do a bare knuckle fight with Wanderlei.
Yeah, I saw that, man.
So we'll see what.
Yeah, I mean, the guy wants to fight. I mean, as long as he's healthy and they pass him. I mean, why not? I mean, that's what he wants.
I mean, you see, Antonio McKee just fought. He's 49 years old.
Yes, sir. And I wanted to bring that up also, man. I mean, let me ask you this: as far as for your career, as of right now, are you retired from the sport?
I guess officially, I guess you can say kind of officially, like that's the title. Yeah, I'm in retirement. But if the right opportunity presents itself, then I'll fight for sure.
Okay, but, yeah, man.
I mean, I'm not training as hard as I used to, but I'm still training my guys and getting in there with my guys on Saturdays and stuff, and I'm hard to handle for them. So I'm
the
still
young bucks.
I can still get in there and do my thing. But like I said, if the right opportunity presents itself, I'm like Antonio McKee and William Siripot just fought. Yeah. I would fight one of those dudes. Like, no problem. I mean, So, I made a post when I saw it. I said, yo, Bellator, sign me up for the Masters division,
I wanted to ask you on that, man, because, I mean, I had spoken to another fighter here in Texas, and with him, the same thing. We brought up the fighting scene, and he said, you know what, if I fight somebody my age, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm not looking to fight one of these young guys, and, but, I mean, I guess that makes sense, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's like a one-fight deal, or, I mean, would you be interested in doing something like that with Bellator?
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem at all. With the right opponent. Yeah, I wouldn't have an issue with that at all. I fought, a couple of years ago?
Yes, sir.
Maybe, was it 20? No, it's 3 years ago already.
Yeah.
I think December of 2016.
Yeah.
And I fought one of the younger guys, and other than a mistake and him catching me, I'm beating this dude already. I'm beating him. And I made one mistake, slipped the wrong way. He caught me with a straight left and dropped me and knocked me out. But before that,
you're not out.
I was beating him before that. So if anybody thinks my skills have diminished or anything, they haven't, because I was in there with a younger guy and was beating him up until the point that he caught me with that shot.
No, for sure, man. And I mean, on something like that, I mean, I don't think anybody would question it. I mean, you've been through wars. Your career. I mean, I remember the first time that I actually saw you fight, man, live was the first time I ever saw a cage. It was for Solis, Renegade. And on that one, I remember we had two guys from here that I trained with that were fighting there, and they were fighting like at 145, 155. And my first thing was, man, I was looking at his opponents at 155, and these suckers were huge, man. I mean, I saw them, and I was thinking, damn, I'm going to have to drop to like 115 or something, dude, because these guys were big. And, I mean, this was like, I mean, what year was that, man? Was that like 2002 maybe?
Well, when I fought for Saul?
Right.
I want to say the first time I fought for Saul might have been his first show. Yeah, I fought for Saul his first show. That has to be 2001, 2002.
Yeah, man, I didn't even look that up, but I was there. Yeah. I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday, but it was like one of those things that when I saw you fight, you fought a 4-man tournament that night, and you beat both your opponents, man, and it was open hand.
Yeah.
Because I remember even then people were like, man, they're slapping each other, but I kept thinking, dude, that shit hurts. We were sparring with the guys I was training with, and I was like, man, I'd rather get popped with a fist than because that thing would echo, man. I mean, it was crazy, but
his first two shows were his very first show was at the Radisson Hotel in Houston. Okay. It was in a ballroom in a ring.
Okay.
I remember I fought a guy named Doug Carpenter, which is one of the toughest guys I ever fought at any level. I hit him with everything and could not finish him.
Damn.
Yes. And then I knocked out Rolando Aguilar in the finals with a shin kick to the face.
That was the one I was in.
He never fought after that.
No.
I eggshelled his face and fractured his face.
Oh, yeah,
he
man.
never fought after that.
I saw him. He actually was training here in San Antonio before he moved up to Houston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I remember when I saw him, some of the guys that I was training with were like, man, that's, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I've seen him here. But yeah, after I saw that, man, I said, damn, I mean, that was painful to watch, man. Yeah. I mean, it can either make you or break you as a fighter because, everybody
broke him.
Yeah, because, I mean, you don't, everybody wants to be a fighter till stuff like that happens. And then you're like, damn, you want to go back and spar again or what,
Man. Good time.
Yes, sir. Now, let me ask you this, Pete. We were kind of talking a little bit about it earlier. Your fight with the UFC, after you beat Lawler, Lawler was, he was a wrecking ball. I mean, they put you in there expecting a loss, man. But you went in there and, the thing that I like about it is, well, not like, but I mean, the guy's a freaking warrior as well. But he didn't tap and you didn't submit him. I mean, you literally made him quit.
Yeah.
He waved the ref and he stopped on his own, so he knew he was in trouble, man.
Yeah. I mean, I heard him, man. The prognosis that I officially heard was that I made him tear his hip flexor. Yeah. So, I mean, how true that is, I don't know, because it was the hip flex on the opposite leg that I was kicking.
Right.
So, but yeah, man, I mean, after my first fight against Zach Light, when I armbarred him, Robbie was actually the next fight that I wanted.
Okay.
But the UFC didn't want me to have that fight. They put me in with the with the former champion Carlos Newton.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which was a fight that I didn't want. It's like, nah, I don't want to fight that dude. Like, that's a step up in competition. I don't want to fight that dude. I want to fight somebody that's, on my same level. It's like, what about Robbie? And they was like, no, you're not going to get a shot at Robbie. I said, but if you don't take the fight with Carlos, I mean, this is how the UFC used to do you back then. And I'm sure, it still goes on today. But they told me that if I didn't fight Carlos, then they wouldn't know when they would have me back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So what is it? I mean, I'm making this is my career choice.
Yeah.
So now you put me on the shelf and I can't fight. How do I provide for myself?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I was like, all right, screw it. I'll take the fight. And ended up losing to him. Second fight on my contract. 3-fight deal. Second fight on my contract. Now they say, okay, we'll give you Robbie.
Man.
And I mean, this is my thinking and rationality is that it's the last fight on my contract. Robbie's mauling and killing everybody. He's going to do the same thing to him. He loses. That's 3 fights. He's done. We don't have to deal with it.
Right.
It's not what happened. So I stopped Robbie, and then now it's like, okay, now what are we going to do with this guy? So next is, all right, we'll give him a title shot with Matt, with his teammate.
Yes, sir.
So now at this point, it's first fight, wrestler. Second fight, grappler. Third fight, striker. I finish him. Finish the wrestler, surprisingly to everyone. Finish the wrestler by armbar. Okay, and they's like, nah, no way he does that. Second fight, they give me a great world-class grappler, which is Carlos Newton,
right.
Pride vet, the whole nine.
Oh, yeah.
So I lose to him. Next fight, okay, we'll give him a stylistic matchup that's good. That's a good stylistic matchup, but we don't think he's going to win because Robbie's killing everybody. I destroy Robbie. Then they want to put me with the champion and another world-class grappler.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, one of my coaches, Saul, he tells me, you were before your time. He said, because you chose not to be pimped by the promotion. It's like, nah, I don't, like, if you're not, they wanted me to fight. So my contract was 2-2, 4-4, 6-6.
Okay.
That was my contract. 2-2. Like, and it's not far removed that guys were still coming into the UFC. I would say maybe 5-6 years ago, still coming in the UFC at like 3-3, 4-4.
Yeah.
I made my debut in the UFC in 2002, I think.
Right.
01, 02, I made my debut in the UFC, I think. So to look at how the pay is, like now I think if you just coming in working your way in, you're probably gonna get 10 and 10.
Yeah.
That's still not far from what I was making, 2-2 back then.
I mean, you look at the revenue, man. I mean, everything's going up, so there's still not a lot. Especially, I mean, I guess back then too, man. The fact, like that you stated, that they were going to put you on the shelf if you didn't take that fight. I mean, if you didn't fight, you didn't get paid.
So
exactly. I mean, of course, I mean, nowadays they have all these outlets. They have as far as the fight night, they have the UFC, coming up. So there's shows every, there's more opportunity, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
But I mean, would you? I guess back then it wasn't. We didn't see it as often, so we had to wait 2-3 months. See a pay per view. Now that it's
3-4 shows maybe a year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You see, now that they have these fights happening pretty much every week, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, for me, it's a bad thing, man. I can't keep up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't keep up. Like, somebody, you watched the fights the other day? What fights? Who? Like, I had no idea. There's just too many, man. And now you've got to purchase everything to be able to watch them. Like, they got the ESPN deal, and you got to have, like, if you had Fight Pass, you thought Fight Pass was going to be your end all to be able to access all the MMA that you wanted to get,
which is what they were leading us to.
Yeah. And then they get the ESPN deal. Now you got to buy the ESPN app, and it's crazy. It's so many platforms that you still got to pay for, and then you still got to pay for the pay-per-views, and man, it's ridiculous, man. It's too much for me, right? For me personally, it's just too much and too many shows. Like, I can't even keep up anymore. I think they got over 500 fighters on the roster,
Yeah.
It's like it's ridiculous, and not all of those guys are getting paid like they should. And
No, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
ridiculous.
I mean, the undercard guys. I mean, I guess it's always. I mean, for them, I guess coming up, it's an opportunity. But I mean, at the same time, they're getting skipped out. They're not getting paid what they're worth.
Yeah, I mean, and then just all the stuff to sell pay-per-views. Like, honestly, like, what the fuck is the BMF belt?
Yeah.
You know what?
No, yeah.
What's that all about?
Yeah.
So now it's, oh man, you gonna watch the BMF title fight? So they hear title, like, oh, okay, it's a title fight. We got to get that. But that's just a trophy for the night for the person that wins. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like all the interim titles that they put up unnecessarily. Unless a guy is injured and going to be out for a certain amount of time, or he's suspended, then you can put up an interim.
Right.
But if you just throwing up interim title fights just to get
because,
a guy, just to get a guy a trophy for him to end up
participating.
Yeah, exactly. Like that stuff is totally unnecessary. It's too many interim titles and stuff going on. Yeah, man, it's just ridiculous for non-legit reasons.
Right.
And for a legit reason, then okay, put up an interim title. Like Whitaker.
Right.
He got hurt, had surgery, he was out. Okay, that interim title
that's a good excuse,
sense.
right? I mean, he's not dodging, he's not saying notified, so he's literally technically he's injured. So yeah, I mean, and that was some of the questions I had, man. Because even like for me, I'm still a fan of the sport. I mean, I watch it as much as possible, regional wise. The UFC, I get lost. I mean, I say the wrong names at times, and I say the wrong opponents, and I'm like, damn, I mean, there is a lot going on. I mean, I try to keep up with it. I mean, on Facebook, if it wasn't for Facebook, I don't think I know who was who, man. But with that being said, man, I mean, the BMF title, they threw it out there. For me, it was more like a super fight, like, hey, let's put two guys that people want to watch, that want to pay for. Let's get it done. Just this morning, I think it was, McGregor had posted, that he wanted the fight, the runner-up or whoever from the BMF, and it's like, man, come on, like, that guy's something else. I mean, he's, he made so much money and he's done so many wrong choices, man. So, wish him the best. But I mean, something like that. I mean, people are pursuing that now instead of the title. So I mean, who's a champion? Does it devalue them because everybody wants to fight for the BMF title?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Like Dana said that belt is gonna cost $50K. Put $50K in my pocket. I don't want no belt.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
I said, in my pocket.
Give me a paper that says I won, and give me the $50,000 in another, in the check format, man. But yeah, you see, and that's one of the things. Even back then, man, there was a local guy here, and he's still here, Ralph Kelly. He actually came out of San Antonio. One of his fights, he fought Mark Kerr. This was like up in North Texas. Mm-hmm. And even back then, like this was like in 2005, 2006 maybe, and he was like, man, they're paying for lights and fog machines, and man, pay me extra, and let I mean, why buy all this, bells and whistles when you can pay the fighters, man? And it's true, man, because look at everybody on the undercard. If instead of making that belt for $50,000, why don't they pay these guys an extra,
Exactly.
I mean, something, but I mean, it is a sport, man. You yourself,
actually,
man.
It's not.
Well, no, it's UFC.
Actually, it's not a sport. The UFC is an entertainment.
There you
business.
go. There you go.
It doesn't follow any of the rules to actually be a sport. Like the rankings are bullshit.
Yeah, horrible.
You don't have the number one contender fighting the champion. Like it's ridiculous. And then you can have a guy. Somebody showed me something this morning where they're talking about Khabib and GSP might fight at 180. Like what? Like what are you talking about?
Yeah, you see, I saw that, man. I was wanting to bring that up because it's. I mean, why would Khabib go up in weight and what? You know what I mean? There's so many questions, man. Like I mean, as a fan, I wouldn't want to. I mean, I would. If they were in the same weight class and it was for a title, I would want to see that. That's a good matchup. But I mean, GSP's retired.
Yeah, I mean, how do we know that's a good matchup? GSP's been out 2 years, 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Just like when he came back and fought for Bisping's title. Yeah. Like he was out like 3 years, was nowhere in the rankings. How does he jump in
and get that opportunity?
What about the guys that were ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that didn't get a shot at that title? And then what? He retires again.
Yeah. No, yeah. I
You
mean, you
know?
see, what does that do for the title, man? So now,
Yeah, man.
you got all these fighters coming in. I know recently, Nick Diaz, he came back and he fought Batiste. And, he won his fight. But, I mean, now that put him back in the ranking, and it's kind of like what you brought up. I mean, how can you do it? How can the UFC say, okay, well, you know what? You've been away so long. Did they put him...
Yeah.
They start him up from the bottom again, or how should something like that be handled, man?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Like, I mean, first off, they have to separate certain things. First thing they have to separate is the promoter. You have to separate the promoter from control of the rankings and the fighters. Okay, there needs to be an independent body that does all the rankings.
Right.
Okay. Now the promoter, this is a direct conflict of interest. The promoter has all the fighters, controls all the rankings.
Right.
So at the end of the day, who's in complete and total control of everything? The promotion.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The fighters have no leverage. That promoter can sign you and cut you at any point.
Yeah.
A fighter doesn't have that same option. He can't say, okay, I don't want to fight for you no more. I want to go fight for somewhere else.
Right.
So now you're going to have legal issues with the promotion. Of course, you're going to lose that battle.
Yeah.
Because the promotion is a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah.
And you're just a fighter, so you ain't going to be putting all that time in legal fees.
No.
There's no way for the fighter to win that. But, with the individual ranking system for the fight, and why is it that there's UFC rankings, Bellator rankings, ONE FC rankings? If you're truly a worldwide global sport, every fighter, no matter wherever they're fighting,
it should be on that.
It should be in the list.
That's true. I never really thought about that, but that's true. I mean, because every promotion's got their own. He's the best heavyweight.
Yeah.
Well, how can you tell? By the time some of these guys get out of contract and come over, it's too little, too late, and it's I mean, that's another thing, man. I mean, I definitely, and I had never thought about it that way, but it's true. I mean, the UFC, it's an entertainment. They are
they control it
for
themselves.
Control everything. They have been. I mean, they kind of monopolize the whole, buying everybody out and all these organizations.
Like with McGregor when he boxed Mayweather.
Yeah.
He said his people's got to look at all this stuff. So when you're going to be a headliner in a boxing event, the boxers negotiate their contract based on all the revenue that's being brought in by the promotion.
Right.
So if a revenue gets this X amount of dollars from a sponsor, the fighters are entitled to that money. So they have to disclose, okay, we're getting this much from Monster Energy, we're getting this much from Reebok or we're getting this much. So we're getting this much from merchandise and stuff. The fighters get a piece of all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Not the UFC.
No.
They don't have to disclose any of that information to the fighter. It's kind of like the rule that they just passed in California, pay to play for the college athletes. You got these college athletes that are on these Xbox NCAA games using their likeness and their number on these video games. They ain't getting none of that.
No.
Same thing with me with the people that's on the UFC game. They ain't getting none of that.
No.
I was on the first UFC game. I got nothing.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got nothing for that.
Oh wow!
Because you signed that, you sign away your name, your likeness, you sign all of that over to the promotion, and they can do with it whatever they want and reap all the benefits, and you get nothing.
Man, I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, you see, and for me, like, I mean, being from the fan perspective, for me watching all that stuff, I mean, there's a lot that I know because I'm in the game and I cover the fights and I'm cage side and I hear and I talk to you guys like you. As far as being in there, man. I mean, I would like to see something more productive from like all the organization, like you said, like something that would just rank everybody. Like you said, something mediator kind of like that's his only job.
Yeah.
The fact that you said Dana White should step off. As far as being in charge of that would be smart, man. It'd kind of be like Mark Cuban. He's the owner and he's out there yelling and trying to coach everybody. He's getting his 2 cents in, man. You can't do stuff like that. You shouldn't be able to.
For for all them Cowboy fans, Jerry Jones is the coach, GM, and the owner.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know when that happened, but yeah, he's out there making the calls
GM and the owner.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I mean, I've seen that, and I'm like, I don't know how. I mean, they obviously get away with it, but it's something that they shouldn't be allowed to do. Now, Pete, let me ask you this, man. I mean, you pretty much, other than fighting, you've done some acting. You've been in movies. Mm-hmm. You produced music. You actually released a CD, and we're in a reality show. With the whole Ultimate Fighter. Mm-hmm. I mean, are these things that you would want to get back into now?
Music, not so much. I'm too old to be rapping and all that. But the TV and movies, yes. Definitely. Just got contacted not too long ago from a guy from my hometown named Randy Nelson that's doing some stuff with some movies. And,
oh, nice, man.
He's got a friend that's I want to say he's involved with the TV series Black Lightning.
Okay.
But we're supposed to do a feature film. That he contacted me about. He wants me to play the lead in a film that he's creating. But yeah, man, I definitely want to do some more movies. My boy Google, who I did my first movie with, and that's that particular poster.
Yeah, right, man, I saw that when I walked in here, man.
We were supposed to do. It's on hold. I don't know what we're gonna do with it, but I actually have a script called Heaven Sent that he sent me that he wants me to play the lead in. But he's been doing a lot of stuff, movies here recently. But I think Heaven Sent was his project that we hadn't gotten off the floor yet. But hopefully we'll be able to put that together and do Heaven Sent. And do the movie with Randy. And yeah, man, that's ultimately what I would really like to do is get into movies and television for sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, if nobody steps up and pays you to fight again, man, till next career for Pete Spratt, man.
Yeah, man. Before I get too old, be playing an old man.
Man, well, let me ask you this real quick, bro, and I do thank you for your time. You have fighters coming up. I mean, you got a couple of guys that are going to be on the Fury FC card here in San Antonio. Who are they? Who are they?
Got Caleb Peter Wright. He's going to be fighting Eddie Torres.
Out of Corpus. I had seen that.
He's going to be fighting him. Caleb is 4-2 right now. He's looking to step up. And then I've got CJ Vergara. He's going to be fighting for the interim 125 title versus... oh gosh, I don't even remember who he's fighting. Shows how much I really care about the opponent. But yeah, he's fighting.
And I had seen that earlier too.
Somebody Solis, I think. Yeah, somebody Solis. No, Joe Solis is the title holder. He's fighting another dude. Anyway, CJ's fighting for the interim 125 title. It's finally, a good thing for him. Step up and get one of these regional titles, man. And then, if he wins this fight and gets the interim title, then he'll be fighting the Fury 125 champion that actually trains with my trainer, Saul Solis.
Yeah, man. I wanted to ask you on that. I had seen that. How would something like that play out? I mean, of course, just respect on both sides. So, I mean, it's business.
Business. Me and Saul talked about it. He was like, look, CJ's one of the best 125ers in Texas, and he absolutely deserves a shot at the title. Yeah. So he's like, it's nothing personal. Like, this is the opportunity that he is deserving of, and, we're cool with that, and it's business. It's nothing personal, and, whoever wins, it's not going to be any hard feelings either way. It's just kind of one of those things that we've just happened to run into. He has the title. He's one of the best in Texas.
Be the best. You got to fight the best, man. So it's just business.
Exactly.
Now, with that being said, I believe it was like 2 weeks ago.
I got a couple other people fighting.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I got Big O is going to be fighting in a private event in Dallas on November 7th.
Oh, wow, okay.
And then just signed Antonio to Bellator to fight an up-and-comer wrestler from OSU that trains at AKA, Kyle Crutchmer. Dude is 4-0.
Oh, man, okay, damn.
Yeah, dude is 4-0, and Antonio Jones, he's going to be going down to 170.
Yeah, I know you had
fight
posted
him.
on that on this last fight, man. He took
Yeah.
that last minute fight at
Yeah.
Bellator, man.
And I think that's it that's coming up right now.
And I wanted to ask you real quick on Odom's situation. I mean, I know he had been posting recently about him not being in the rankings and the Texas rankings being not up to date. For me personally, I see that, and for me, because he's already fought outside of Texas and he's fought for promotions. I mean, I think he's already surpassed that. I mean,
Yeah, that's kind of because I believe because he had fought and held the heavyweight title for LFA.
right.
He's fought in Russia a couple of times, and then we fought in the Philippines once. I think just with that, they consider him ineligible for the Texas rankings. But his situation is really weird.
He's in a bad spot, man.
He's, as far as the rankings go as of right now, he's fought and beat everybody that's
in the top 10.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
Yeah, and and he's getting older, but he has a great record.
Yeah.
So there's people that won't fight him. It's crazy. People at the regional level won't fight him.
Right.
But then he's at the point to where his age is being an issue with him being able to get on with, say, a Bellator or the UFC or something like that.
Yeah.
So his situation is really weird. Like, he has he's 13-4. Like, LFA just had a heavyweight tournament.
Yeah.
He was the first heavyweight champion for LFA.
Right.
How is he not in the tournament?
Yeah. No, I've seen that.
And then the guy that he lost to, he's in the UFC now.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not allow him to be in the mix for the tournament when he was the first champion and then he lost?
Yeah.
And then you put him in the tournament and let him see if he can win. Like, don't, because of his age, don't be the person looking in from the outside saying, okay, this guy's this old, he can't fight. Let that man fight until
man.
somebody,
I mean, who are they to
puts
say,
him out of there. Yeah. It's crazy. So his situation is real crazy, man. We're fortunate enough to be able to get him this fight because we tried to get him. He was going to be the co-main event on the Fury card, but we couldn't find anybody that'll fight him.
I know they were looking for somebody to step up.
Yeah, he was going to fight Juan Torres, but supposedly he got an opportunity to fight for a boxing title like 2 weeks later, so he preferred to do that. But Juan Torres, he already beat him already.
Yeah.
He's already beat Hardy. He's already beat Vernon.
Right.
And Bubba, they got Bubba McDaniel ranked as number 1 in Texas at heavyweight. He ain't even a heavyweight.
Yeah.
So
that was one of those ones I questioned. I mean, I know the guy's out there. He's actually promoting his own fights. I think he had one last week.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, but that's great, man. I mean, he actually picked up a fight and he's able to let some of that anger out, man. I mean, he's a big dude.
It'd be good, man. It'd be good because he's been itching, man. I didn't even realize he's already been out 2 years.
Oh wow!
Like, his last fight was in 2017.
Man, you see, and I've seen him even besides that. Like I would see him at tournaments, like the grappling tournaments, and he'd be there with his gi, and then I would see him leaving, and I'd be like, "Man, what's up?" He's like, "Man, nobody's in his division, man." And it's like, it's just a sad situation because the guy wants to compete, man. I mean,
exactly.
It's just I hope the best for the guy, and I hope one of these promotions, especially Bellator, man. I mean, they should bring them in there, It's like,
I mean, they bring in older guys anyway, so
No,
we'll see, man. I'm gonna keep pushing for him, man, and try to get him something, so he can satisfy his itch. But he has a legit argument, man. He's beating everybody.
Yeah.
He's beating everybody.
No, yeah. So. I mean, he's out there, man. Well, Pete, man, I do thank you for inviting me to your home and giving me some time, man. I really do appreciate that. I hope to do this on a weekly basis. Time permits. I'd like to bring you back in and talk about some of these promotions coming up as far as like with the UFC, if we can figure out who's fighting.
Yeah, right.
We'll try and keep up with that. With that being said, real quick, man, there's last one. There's a fight tomorrow, and it's going to be with Whitaker and Israel. It's going to be for the who do you see winning that fight?
I mean, people be tripping off of me on this stuff. So a few years ago, I did my DNA testing.
Right.
So I found out that I'm almost 34% Nigerian.
Oh wow! Okay.
So a lot of the quote unquote real Nigerians be like, "Oh, he did a DNA test, like he ain't really Nigerian." But actually I'm really Nigerian. You know what I'm saying? My people were brought over here, so
Right.
I'm actually Nigerian. So, you know, with that being said, Israel's Nigerian. I got to go with my Nigerian brother.
Man, that's
you know, he's got great skills, man. He's tough. He showed his toughness when he fought Gaston.
yeah.
But you know that if he can be slick with his game, that's what I'm looking for him to win, technically. But it could provide for some drama if it's a slugfest.
Yeah.
Whitaker's a bigger dude, like
Yeah.
as far as size.
Right.
He's a bigger dude. But you know, I'm leaning toward the style bender, man. It's, that's
Man,
that's
well, I
where
mean,
I
that's a good. I mean, I like that because I mean, I'm kind of going for the guy also. I think his reach is going to take a lot of play into it, like you said, because Whitaker is. I mean, he's shorter, I believe, than him,
Yes,
but I mean, he's
Whitaker's
stockier.
shorter.
He's a lot more.
Yeah.
So I mean, him being out from the fight game of quite some time, I kind of question that because I mean, we'll see how if there's any rust left on him tomorrow, man. But
Dominic Cruz says there's no such thing as ring rust.
yeah, he said that one time, man. So I don't know. I mean, I've seen guys go in there after a fight and win. I've seen guys go after a layoff and lose. So we'll see tomorrow. Well, peace, Brad. I mean, this is the Fight Card Podcast. I do thank you for your time.
Sure thing.
Until next time, brother. Thank you.
Sure. No doubt.